Hello. Today I want to continue with the history of ancient Egypt, and we will start with the Old Kingdom. So the Old Kingdom lasted from about 2700 to 2100 BC. And it all began with the Third Dynasty. And the Third and the Fourth Dynasty that I will present to you now is well known for all the pyramids that were built and that you might all know. And the first king was King Djoser. King Djoser built the pyramid that you see here on the top right. This is the step pyramid of Saqqara. And this was the first pyramid building that was built in the world. Other than that, there's not much more known about Djoser, except that he further centralized and concentrated the power in the capital Memphis. From this time, we also know the tombs of the kings of the first three dynasties. And there were two places, so we are going to see them on the map later, but there are two places. So the tombs of the kings of Abydos for the first three dynasties in Abydos. And why in Abydos and not somewhere else? Because the Egyptians believed that Osiris, when he was killed by Seth, his brother, was killed in Abydos. And Abydos is also where Osiris was buried by his wife Isis. And therefore, the Egyptian kings thought that it would be good to follow the gods' traditions and bury themselves also there where Osiris died. And then also, beginning from the Third Dynasty with Djoser and the Fourth Dynasty and so on, also around Saqqara. So we also, near there are also the pyramids of Gizeh, and there were also many pyramids. Then, following the Third Dynasty, we have the Fourth Dynasty. And the Fourth Dynasty marked the climax of the Old Kingdom's wealth and power. And what is special about the Fourth Dynasty is that regarding their style of government, it was a single phenomena in the whole of ancient Egyptian history. Because in none of the following ages or times, Egypt was that centralized and the power that concentrated on the Egyptian kings as it was in the Fourth Dynasty. And the first king of the Fourth Dynasty was Sneferu, and Sneferu built three pyramids. So the first pyramid was Dashur South. This is the bent pyramid. And why is this pyramid bent? Because this was the first try to build a pyramid. And when he built the pyramid, he saw that the pyramid he was building was too steep, and it was too hard for the workers to complete such a pyramid. So he needed to make a bend and flatten the pyramid so that the pyramid could be completed. The second try of building a pyramid was the Meidum pyramid. You can also see it was not even really completed because it was already too steep again. And then the third pyramid he built, that was the first, let's say it, perfect pyramid. And this Dashur North pyramid served as the prototype for all following pyramids in ancient Egypt. And this pyramid building tradition, let's say it, was also continued by the following kings. So I think you all know this picture. These are the three pyramids of Gizeh, built by Khufu, who was also called Cheops. And Khufu built the largest and highest pyramid ever built, 146 meters high. And then we have Khafre, and then we have the Mykerinos pyramid. And also what is special about Khafre is that from Khafre on, the Egyptian kings not only named themselves son of Horus, they also call themselves son of Ra. So they began to now refer to the sun god as their father. And here we can see a map of the three pyramids. And what we see here is that this whole complex doesn't only consist of these three kings' pyramids, but there's also the Sphinx, and there are much more temples also here in the south. Here in the south, for example, you can see the 3 small pyramids of their main wives. So this is a whole temple complex, very big. And what is also special, so this is more like a special fact, is that everything had a special order. We can see that when we look at the southeastern corners of the 3 pyramids. They're perfectly aligned in one line. So everything here the whole area had a special plan. Everything had its right location where it should be. And when we look at the greater map, so here is Gizeh, where the 3 pyramids are. Then near that, a little bit more south, we have Saqqara, where there are more pyramids. And then here, Dashur, more south here. This is where King Djoser built his first pyramids. And then here at Abydos, so this is already almost in Upper Egypt, near Thebes and Luxor, we have where the tombs of the kings of the first 3 dynasties are, and where Osiris was killed. So, and here to the even lower part, so there are some other important places, but this is what we are going to cover later. When we talk about the 4th dynasty, we also need to talk about the Egyptian mortuary cult. This mortuary cult, so the role of the dead people in Egypt, this was very important for the Egyptians. Because the Egyptians believed that a human being has 2 parts. He has a physical part, the physical body, and he has a spiritual part. And when they believed that when the physical part died, then the spiritual part would still continue to live. And this is what they called Ka. This is like the soul, the human soul. And that continued to live after death. And they believed that this Ka had similar needs like a living human being. So they thought when somebody was buried in the tomb, they thought they needed to give the Ka everything that he needs to live so that he can continue to live even after his physical body dies. And this is the reason why they mummificated all these bodies, so that in this dead physical body, the spiritual body, the Ka, could still have a place where he could rest. And then they also brought many food, household items, games, books, so that the Ka would have everything, so that he continued to live as he would be a living human being. And then for the kings, it was a little bit different, because the Egyptians believed the king, okay, he is a god, and the king is so wealthy, he already has everything that he needs to live when he dies. But still, they still built him temples, pyramids, mortuary palaces. They even gave the dead king agricultural fields or even whole royal courts in order to still worship him, because the king is still a living god. So, and this is the reason why, for example, these huge temple complexes and pyramid complexes were built. And this is also the reason why, for example, King Khafre was still worshipped 400 years after his death. So people, after 400, although he was dead 400 years, the people still brought him offerings and gifts and built temples for him in order to worship him. And this was very important for the Egyptian people. And then I talked much about the pyramids, but then we have to ask ourselves, why did the Egyptian kings build pyramids? And the reason was that the pyramids were an image of the first hill. The first hill, a hill of sand, as the land in creation was separated from the water when the world was created by God Ptah. So they thought, because the pyramid is a symbol of creation, that it is also a symbol of resurrection and eternal life. And this was exactly what the Egyptians believed should happen with the dead kings, that they should rise again and live with Osiris in the realm of the dead. So this shows the connection between the king and the gods. So this was very important for the Egyptian religious cult. And also, of course, another reason is that these huge pyramids, that they, of course, displayed the king's power. Because the bigger the pyramid, the greater it shows that the power of the king was. And then the second thing that we need to mention is the Sphinx. I think many people here have seen such an image, the Sphinx. And in Egyptian, it means Shesheb Anach, and this means living image. But we still do not know the meaning. It stands there, but we still do not know why the Egyptians built this. This is still in the dark and to be found out. But all in all, we can see through the pyramids, the building of the pyramids, and this mortuary cult, that religion and state were really closely intertwined in Egyptian history. It cannot be divided because for the Egyptians, religion was a central part in their life, and it also strongly influenced politics.